What? Something tells me a whole lot of people are about to die.
Hey everybody, it's Charlie. Happy Comic-Con week. We finally got confirmation on what's going on with the Birds of Prey movie. So you probably heard about versions of this and various characters that are going to pop up. Black Canary, Batgirl. Now we finally learned what the actual roster is going to be and what's going on with the villain. Because you may have heard Margot Robbie's comments about how they wanted to do an R-rated girl gang film. And there are a couple limitations when you want to do an R-rated DC Comics film with the characters that you use. So if you're finding me for the first time, be sure to subscribe to get all the Comic-Con videos. There's a new round of that Flash Ring giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber, leave a comment on the video, and I'll name a new winner at the end of this. Here's when we get to the big stuff though, the roster. Obviously Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie's going to be a producer on the film. Helena Bertinelli, Huntress. As of the beginning of the events of the movie, she will have been a vigilante operating out of Gotham. Cassandra Cain, who's been a couple of different characters in the comics, I'll explain why she's sort of the Batgirl of the team, but how they're probably going to handle Batgirl because they're still doing a Batgirl movie with Barbara Gordon. So it sounds more confusing than it is, but I'll talk about Cassandra Cain because she's a special case in a second. Then Renee Montoya, who has not become the Question yet. During the events of this movie, she's just going to be a detective. The role you would expect them to give Gordon during a normal Batman film. Like you need to have some sort of police presence with all these vigilantes operating out of the city. And of course, probably the biggest one people have been talking about for a long time, Black Canary, the Dinah Laurel Lance version of Black Canary. Her mother, also named Dinah, will have been the original version of Black Canary. Her father, Larry Lance, is a former member of the Gotham City Police Department. Most of you are probably vaguely familiar with the way Arrow has treated the Black Canary character. There have now been 3 different characters to wield the mantle, so it's a bit of a mess on that TV show. For the benefit of the movie universe, just pretend like that didn't happen. If the film goes well, this version of Black Canary will henceforth be the version that you see pop up in any other films. So many of the movies are pulling from the New 52 right now, I wouldn't be surprised if this did the same thing too. But what the rumor is that the villain, they've confirmed it's a Batman villain, but the unconfirmed part of the rumor is that it's just going to be David Cain, Cassandra Cain's father, who she has sort of a Ra's al Ghul type relationship with, or say like Ravager in Deathstroke.
Here is your legacy, Damian. Here is your inheritance. The League of Assassins.
Yes, grandfather.
They will be yours to command, to make certain the earth abides in natural contentment, without the abuse of man.
You have this crazy mercenary father who's a former member of the League of Assassins who has a daughter, trains her to be his weapon of mass destruction, then tries to push her down a path the same way that Ra's al Ghul and Talia try to push Damian down a League of Assassins path. But in the same way that Batman sort of takes Damian in and tries to be a good influence, he does the exact same thing for Cassandra Cain when she becomes the next version of Batgirl. Now, she's had 3 different comic book names in her tenure. She's been Batgirl, she became Black Bat during the New 52, then more recently a younger version of the character was introduced during Rebirth, and she was called Orphan and sort of came up through this vigilante training program. So I'm expecting them to go more with the New 52 version. The reason why I don't think that she's going to be Batgirl during the film is because they're doing that Barbara Gordon Batgirl film, and it's fairly easy to assume why they're not using Barbara Gordon Batgirl in this Birds of Prey movie. Because under normal circumstances, you would expect them to go with the biggest characters, and she would be one of those. But like I said at the beginning of the video, Margot Robbie pitched this film to the studio as an R-rated girl gang film, and I don't think that Warner Brothers wants to go that hardcore with the Barbara Gordon character. I think it sounds like they want their Batgirl Barbara Gordon film to be more PG-13. Remember when Joss Whedon was on the project and then said, sorry, I didn't have a story, like 6 months went by, and he was like, I don't have a real story, so he left the project?
I have so many things to say about her. I'm very excited to see a girl in the cowl.
Are you talking about casting it?
No, I'm not there. I don't have my eye on anybody. I feel like I'm creating this character. I'm in a dialogue with her, and then we'll see who joins that later on.
No name in mind that you thought of for the part?
I doubt it'll be a name. I think this is somewhere where you go and find Batgirl and then you cast her.
Now, to be fair, that was after all the Justice League blowback. That may have had something to do with it, but then he later clarified what he meant when he said that he didn't have an actual story for Batgirl. What he said is that the story that he wanted to do wasn't the direction that Warner Brothers wanted to go in after all this Justice League blowback. So it sounds like his take on the character was more dark, more gritty, and Warner Brothers was like, you know what? We're kind of done with that. We want to go in a more positive direction, at least with that character, because they do have the DC Dark label in that new Joker film with Joaquin Phoenix, which I will explain in a second, because that's even more confusing. So I think the minute the studio was on board for a smaller budgeted but R-rated girl team-up film, Barbara Gordon was out of the mix. Like, okay, we'll just save her for another film that's tonally very different. The good news in there, though, is that if it is going to be genuinely hardcore, you're going to get a hardcore version of Black Canary. I think Katie Lotz was on the cusp of that on the Arrow TV show, but for whatever reason, they decided to kill her off and then spin her off to her own show as White Canary, and she's on Legends of Tomorrow now, so I don't think that they've referenced her time as Black Canary in a long while, but she still, to me, is the best TV version of Black Canary so far.
She's bleeding. It's not deep.
Good, I can't take any more scars. Speaking of, mortar round?
Yeah, IED to protect a province of Afghanistan. Good eye.
I know my wounds. Grenade, Algiers.
I've never been hit by a grenade.
All those scars, you've never been hit by a grenade?
Arrow, knife. A lot of bullets, no grenades.
I got myself a new bullet. 9mm, right there.
38. I'm mostly swords and a spear.
For those of you asking about that new Joker film with Joaquin Phoenix and Todd Phillips, that's the Martin Scorsese produced one that's going to be part of their DC Dark label. They're rumored to be doing The Killing Joke. It's supposed to be an origin story for the character, which I know raises a lot of red flags. Why would you even want an origin story for the Joker? Part of the charm of the character is that he doesn't have a definitive backstory. That was the beauty of Heath Ledger's Joker, is that every time he told his origin story to someone in the film, it was a different story, so you never knew if he was being honest.
You remind me of my father. I hated my father.
Okay, stop.
But like I said, supposed to be Killing Joke. It's on the DC Dark label. They're calling that sort of like their boutique for really dark DC films that are not part of the DCEU. So for the time being, until he officially leaves, Jared Leto is still DCEU Joker. They still have a movie planned with him at some point, which I know is going to get really confusing, but he also just signed on to be Morbius inside Sony's Spider-Verse that'll cross over with the Venom movie. So if the film's not vaporware and they wind up making it, then he's going to be both DC and Marvel character. But I think the idea is that it seems like he's slowly on his way out as the Joker, and this new Sony deal is just hedging his bets. Like, okay, you're not going to do any more Joker films with me? Fine, I'll go make some creepy films with Sony and their Spider-Verse. So I wouldn't worry too much about that right now. The real talk of this week is going to be like Young Justice, all the new TV trailers, and of course the Aquaman trailer. There's supposed to be some Wonder Woman 2 footage and some Shazam footage, but we'll see about that. They might not reveal all of it. The Aquaman one is the only confirmed trailer that they'll be dropping online. So of course, whatever ends up happening, I will totally do videos for it. Congratulations to the latest giveaway winner, Adrian Alvarez. Please email me on the back end of my channel. New Flash Season 5 posting tomorrow. While you wait for everything, click here for brand new Aquaman trailer preview, and click here for brand new Avengers 4. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.